Good afternoon. Welcome to everyone in attendance. My name is Sandra Gumansing. I am the Media Relations Director for the VI Department of Justice. Thanks for tuning in for this special announcement. Joining us today for this press briefing is VI Department of Justice Attorney General Denise George from the Department of Human Services. We have Commissioner Kimberly Causey Gomez, VI Department of Justice Medicaid Fraud Control Unit Director, Assistant Attorney General Julita De Leon, and Attorney Carol Thomas Jacobs, DOJ's Chief Deputy Attorney General. Following the announcement and statements, we will open to questions from the media. A quick reminder to the media, if you have a question, please raise your hand or request to ask a question by typing, "I have a question," in the chat section. We will see your hand raised, unmute your microphone, and acknowledge you. Please identify yourself and your media outlet before asking your questions. And now we welcome to the podium the Attorney General of the Virgin Islands, Denise and George.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm glad to be able to come. I have a very important announcement to make. I'm announcing the arrest this morning of Kathleen Gussie. She's a former Medicaid eligibility supervisor at the VI Department of Human Services. She's been arrested on several counts of Medicaid program fraud, which she is alleged to have committed while she held a position at the Department of Human Services as the supervisor of that eligibility unit. These occurrences have occurred between December 11th, 2017 and July 2018. Ms. Gussie was arrested this morning by the Department of Justice special agents. And she was then later on, I understand she was later on released on 10% bond. She was arrested on a warrant, 10% of $50,000 bond. She was arrested on a warrant signed by the Superior Court magistrate in St. Croix. Ms. Gussie is charged with fraudulently obtaining and using Medicaid funds for her own benefit while she was not lawfully eligible for such Medicaid benefits. Ms. Gussie was the supervisor of the Medicaid eligibility section of the Department of Human Services Medicaid Program Certification Unit, which is the unit that actually determines eligibility of persons in the community for Medicaid benefits. Ms. Gussie has been charged by the Department of Justice with embezzlement of public and private officers, embezzlement or falsification of public accounts, fraudulent claims upon the government, and conversion of government property, all of which are felonies. What is most significant about this particular arrest is this is the very first arrest and prosecution deriving from an investigation within the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit of the VI Department of Justice. It is a new unit, relatively new. I would say it's our newest unit, actually, in the VI Department of Justice. And it is responsible for the investigation and prosecution of Medicaid provider fraud, the investigation and prosecution of abuse and neglect of persons in healthcare facilities, and the investigation and prosecution of Medicaid program fraud within the Department of Human Services. This is that type of case. The program fraud cases are actually focused on the programs and fraud, waste, and abuse within the programs of Department of Human Services. We work very close, and I'm talking about the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit, or we call it MOFUCU, work very close with our federal partner in the investigation of these types of crimes. Our federal partners is the Department of Health and Human Services, Office of the Inspector General, we call the OIG. And we work very closely with them in the investigation, both investigation, and we get assistance from them in our local prosecutions of these cases. Mofuku was first certified in the Department of Justice in 2018 and has been recertified since then every year. I must say last year, we finally, for the first time, got it fully staffed. And since then, we have been very busy. One component that's very important also is that the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit works very closely with our Department of Human Services. And we do so in coordinating with Department of Human Services towards, as far as referral of cases from Department of Human Services Integrity Unit, as well as coordinating our efforts to eradicate fraud within the program of Department of Human Services, as well as by providers and any other persons who are using or the Medicaid or under the Medicaid program. So we, as Mofuku, or the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit, we receive our cases from complaints from outside sources, not only the Department of Human Services, and the public and the community. So although we work very closely with Department of Human Services, we are indeed very separate, and our responsibilities are also very separate as well. I think that it's important to also note that the coordination of the anti-fraud efforts with Department of Human Services is so integral that we do have an MOU to work with Department of Human Services as well. So it is essential that in this working relationship, that is how we're able to coordinate these efforts in eradicating fraud. This is a first arrest, and I said that. I said it was a first arrest because we expect there will be many more. As I indicated, within the last year alone, after being fully staffed with an investigator, analyst, a director, and also a legal assistant, we've gotten a substantial amount of cases and complaints. There are ways also where we can get complaints anonymously that we can discuss later. There's an 800 number that can be called directly to the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit here at the Department of Justice. I want to remind you that the arrest this morning, it is an arrest, and there is a charging document charging Ms. Gussie with many felonies. But I do have to caution you that it is still a charging document, and a person is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I want to open up for questions, but before I do that, we'll get a statement from the Commissioner of Human Services, Ms. Kazi Gomez, with respect to this matter and respect to the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit and the Integrity Unit at Department of Human Services.
Thank you, AG. Good afternoon. I am Kimberly Kazi Gomez. I'm the Commissioner for the Virgin Islands Department of Human Services. The Department of Human Services and the Department of Justice, Medicaid Fraud Control, or MOFUCO, have been working in concert to operate under the local U.S. VI law, Virgin Islands Medicaid Program Integrity, Act 34, Virgin Islands Code, Section 680. Under both federal and territorial law, DHS is required to refer all suspected fraud by Medicaid healthcare providers, our Medicaid employees and our staff, and all of our Medicaid members to Department of Justice, MOFUCO unit. As demonstrated by today's events, the Department of Human Services, under our team's leadership, will not tolerate fraud, waste, and abuse in any of our divisions, especially Medicaid, as we exist to serve our most vulnerable populations. We want our Virgin Islands community to know that we're here to serve you. If you do not currently have health insurance or a health coverage plan, please contact our Medicaid offices, as we know there are many potentially eligible people across the territory that we would like to properly enroll. If we all use this incredible program in the way that's intended, not by abusing it, we can help those across the territory in the need of medical care access and the care that they need. I thank you for today, and I'll be open to questions as needed. AG?
Thank you very much, Commissioner. And at this time, I would like to open for questions, if we have any questions whatsoever from the press.
Hello, good afternoon. Hi, this is Lasiba Knight, a reporter with the St. Gravis.
Good afternoon.
I'm wondering how this instance of fraud was uncovered and how much it is believed that Ms. Gussie embezzled.
Well, it was actually uncovered a couple years ago within the Department of Human Services. And it was uncovered by an analyst who had been going through the information and then reported it to supervisors. And since then, it has been a bit of some time, but once I came on board last year, or I should say year before last, once I came on board, it was brought to our attention and that nothing had been done thus far. And then while we had the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit, then we decided to look into it, and that's what happened. We do have the affidavit that was submitted with the arrest warrant is public record, and that is with the courts. That gives more details as far as how much. This was not just one incident, but it was several incidents of receiving benefits. I don't know if there's anything you would like to add, the director of the Mufuko unit, to that answer. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, thank you very much again for coming. And I would just like to repeat. Oh, there is a question? Oh.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Suzanne Carlson with the Daily News.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Was this employee still active in the department? Had she been fired?
Well, she had been suspended during the time in which it was discovered and it was reported to her supervisors. There was administrative hearings that went through the administrative process, and she was on suspension for quite some time. Just recently, several months ago, she was then terminated, finally, with the approval of this governor, who is Governor Bryan.
Okay, I'm going to ask for more specifics about that. Can you give us a spelling of her name, the age, any other specific information that would?
Okay, let me get you the spelling of her name. Kathleen Gussie, that's Kathleen, and then the last name Gussie.
Thank you. So this person's no longer with the department. You expect to make other arrests. Clearly, the checks and balances, it sounds like it worked here. Someone uncovered evidence of fraud and reported it as they should. Mm-hmm. Are you confident that there's adequate controls in place now to prevent such embezzlement from reoccurring?
Yeah, I cannot say that. What I'm saying right now is that investigations continue, and there are many investigations that are continuing. This is an ongoing effort, as I indicated. This is our first arrest. This is an ongoing investigation as far as discovering what is going on and being able to eradicate the fraud. So it's way too early to expect now that it's going to prevent anything else. But it is very important, as you indicated, to have that kind of cooperation with the community, even persons who are within the Department of Human Services or working with a provider, to be able to report these incidents of fraud. And sometimes it can be very intimidating, which is why we have an anonymous number also, an 800 number that you can call directly to the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit here at Department of Justice and complain or report tips and give tips on with respect to Medicaid fraud that you may have witnessed. So just as you indicated, you're absolutely right. It is very important to rely upon persons coming forward. I'd like that 800 number. Do you have that? Okay. I'd just like to take this opportunity so that the Director Attorney De Leon can give us that 800 number.
Good afternoon. To report Medicaid fraud or abuse or neglect of persons in room and board or healthcare facilities, please call 1-888-404-6328. You may also email us at mfuku, mfcu, at doj.vi.gov. Gov.
Okay, thank you. And that's just one of the ways you can also call Department of Justice if you wish. And we'll always, handle the complaints and look into it. So I would appreciate that as well. Any further?
Could we get copies of the charging documents and affidavit?
Okay, and I know that it's generally public record. I can get it to you. I would imagine that the court has it. Usually it's up on their site, but
the criminal records are not on their site, and they do not provide probable cause fact sheets until someone has appeared in court. So is that happening
Well, I
Monday?
see. Okay, well, actually, Ms. Gussie has appeared in court. My understanding is today. So I will release that information. We will
Thank
get the warrant, at least the signed warrant in the affidavit.
Two unrelated issues. Has there been any update on the investigation of the homicide of Tamir Lake?
Well, I'm not going to be entertaining questions on that, on issues that are not involved in this particular subject matter.
Will you respond separately?
As you know, the investigations, we can't comment on it, but it's still pending.
No arrests have been made?
As I indicated, we can discuss further, but the investigation is still pending.
Okay, and I'd like to discuss further the investigation into the police officers being charged with cocaine trafficking. Obviously, that started here. So I'm curious to see whether, local DOJ is doing an investigation of their own or how that works.
When you say that started here, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I'll be glad to answer that question.
Private plane originated here in St. Thomas.
Okay, I would be happy to answer that question, except that as far as investigations, I don't comment with respect to what the status of any investigation is. I'm aware of that, but I'm not going to answer any more questions on that. Any questions you have more on the subject matter of today's press conference?
Yes, I'll ask them later. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Hi, good afternoon. I just had one follow-up, Lasiba Knight again. This one's for Commissioner Kazi Gomez. I was wondering if we can get a description of Ms. Gussie's responsibilities at DOH and how she abused her position to commit embezzlement.
Okay, one thing I will say though, that when you get to that level with respect to how she abused it, those are allegations as a part of the investigation and the prosecution. And that is laid out, at least to some extent, in the affidavit and the warrant, but it's not something that we can comment on with respect to how we would do it. But basically, as I indicated, it dealt with her, the abuse and the fraud dealt with her receiving benefits, and although she knew she was not eligible, and there were steps that were taken with respect to that. But those details are a part of the prosecution. As far as her responsibilities or of the responsibilities of that position, I'll be happy to have the commission answer that.
Hi, Lasiba. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
It's been a little while since I've seen you.
Yeah,
Maybe during COVID, I guess that's right. We have an eligibility unit. And so what happens is when you come into Department of Human Services and you apply for Medicaid, there's a process for that to determine eligibility. And that was the part that she did. So when you're coming in, there's a lot of determining factors for you to be eligible for Medicaid. And it's a combination of a lot. So it depends on your own particular situation, your age, where you live, your citizenship, your marital status. All of that comes into play when we're determining eligibility for Medicaid. So I'll be happy to give a phone number too. And this is what's really important for us is that if you think, because there's a lot of people now, especially without a work, that may be eligible that they weren't eligible before. And so for our offices to determine your own eligibility would be our St. Croix office is 340-772-7117 or 340-227-4686. St. Thomas St. John, we have 340-774-0930, extension 4397. So her responsibilities was to assist members in determining eligibility and processing those applications.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. Any further questions from anyone? From the press? No further questions? Well, thank you very much again. And as I indicated, we're working together in this, in this fight. Unfortunately, it's a fight at this point, but in just carrying out our duties in the investigation and prosecution of Medicaid fraud. So thank you very much again. Have a good evening.
This concludes our press conference. Now, this briefing will be uploaded on the VI Department of Justice's Facebook page, YouTube, and our website at doj.vi.gov. Again, thank you for joining us. Thanks to all the participants, and thanks to the media for attending. Do have a wonderful rest of the afternoon.